Hi everyone, it's Kay of Kay's Creative Home. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're making a nautical lantern, which I really just fell in love with. It's going to go great near a water feature or near your pool, or just if you want a nautical theme in your near outside of your home in your yard. Okay, so what I started doing was wrapping this rope. This is some of the rope I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby when I shared that video of my shopping haul. So I'm gonna, well, I guess I call it a cord, not a rope this time, because it's not quite as rough as a rope. So this cording I took and I started gluing it around an 8-inch wreath frame. So I started by putting like a good generous amount of glue, as much as I could, on the inner ring. And I'm saying as much as I could without it starting to drip all over down the sides and all that kind of stuff. And I started it, as you can see, near one of the crossbars. And the reason I did that is because I'm going to be wrapping some rope around at that area later. And I wanted to be able to identify a good place to do it without having to do a whole bunch of measurements and stuff. By putting it there, I'm going to put the rope at that point and at the other crossbars, and I knew it would be equal around the circle. Okay, so it takes a minute to kind of get this started, holding this wreath in place so that it gives a chance for the glue to adhere. And all I'm going to do is wrap this rope around and around and around until I get all the way to the outer edge. And I'm going to do that by first, as you can see, placing it on the frame, and then adding some glue and just carefully making my way around, holding it in place, giving it time to adhere and stick together. If you don't do that, you're going to end up with this rope kind of peeling off, because it takes a minute for this hot glue to adhere, unless you want to use some E6000 along with it, so you get some instant bonding. All right, so I'm going to keep on, like I said, round and round. Now that I'm overlapping, I am doing glue on the side of the rope that's already there, and glue on the frame if this next cord reaches the frame. Sometimes it won't actually reach all the way over to the frame yet. So you can see now I've got it glue on the frame and glue on the side of the rope that's already there, and that's going to give it two places to adhere to. Again, I'm going to keep going around, and I believe with this method I ended up going around 4 times. Now here's an example where I'm not reaching that next part of the frame yet. So all I'm doing is gluing the rope to the rope. And now I've made it my way back to the outer edge, and I can start doing it on the frame again. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this until I get that completed. And this is going to be the beginning of our nautical lantern. For materials, you're going to need, I had rope that had 15 feet, so I used 1.5 for this whole project. 1.5 rolls, 2 reframes, so a roll and a half of the Dollar Tree rope, and the chain to hang it up, and my light. Okay, those are the things you're going to need. All right, when I got to the end, I added a little bit of tape to the end just to make sure it didn't start to unravel, and glued it down just as firmly as I could. Now the next step is to do some contrasting rope around the circle at 3 different points. And remember how I said I started it at one of the crossbars? So I'm going to do this rope at each crossbar, and there are 3 on this frame. So I'm going to just wrap it around the circle. Here I was trying to glue the edge, but that didn't work as well as just adding a little piece of tape to the end to make sure it didn't unravel. So anyway, I was saying I'm going to wrap it around at the 3 crossbars. So I'm going to have 3 places where I am going around this circle. And that's to give it a, I think you pronounce it buoy, a buoy effect, B-O-U-Y. Because this is nautical, I wanted it to kind of look like that. So you can see I started a little bit to the side of the crossbar Well, maybe you didn't see it, but I did. And I'm wrapping this around. See how the crossbar is right there? I'm wrapping this around until I, excuse me, I start on the back, wrap it around, I believe 3 times. And, well, first I'm gluing this down. I'll show you later how I glued a little differently, but at any rate, I got that first end glued down. I'm still holding it in place. Then right where the rope starts to touch the back of the other rope, I'm adding some glue because I don't want any glue on the front. I don't want glue popping up and showing up on the front. So I'm adding it to the back. So at each edge of that round frame, see how at the top and on the inside, I'm adding a little bit of glue each time. So there is on the bottom inner layer, I'm adding a little bit of glue on the back, bringing that over. And then I'm taking this last piece and actually tucking it under the other rope I just wrapped, because there's a gap, because you know how our wreath frame has that little U shape on the back. So I can actually put a big glob of glue in there and just tuck that rope in to get it nice and secure and hold it in place until it adheres. So what I'm going to do now is just repeat that process where there are the other 2 crossbars, and that way I'll have that look of the buoy. I hope I'm saying that right. All right, so while I'm doing that, I want to first thank you for spending time with me and welcome all of our new followers here, everyone who has subscribed. If you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. That would really help my channel to grow. And if you're not a family member, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell so you can be notified as I release new videos. Here on the channel, I make wreaths and bows, and now I am adding in these lanterns that you still make using your wreath frames. All right, we're almost ready for the next step. I've got the second rope wrapped around the second section, and now I'm going to do this third section, and then I'll show you the next thing we're going to do. And by the way, you're going to make 3 for this lantern. You're going to make 3 of these circles with this rope, and then we're going to join them together to help make our lantern. Depending on the size of the lantern you want to make, because I'm using a 8-inch wreath frame. If you want to use the 14-inch, the 18-inch, or whatever, then you just got to make a few more of them and, kind of play with it to see how many you need. Okay, let's go on to the next step. Now for my next step, I decided I wanted to have a base and a top for this lantern. It didn't work out like that, but I am going to use this for the base. So what I did was wrap 2 feet of ribbon around there just to kind of get an estimate of how much ribbon I would need, and I ended up cutting it at 6 feet. And I basically just, how you wrap ribbon around a wreath frame, you start by gluing the first end right there where you have the inner ring and the crossbar again, so you got 2 places where you can glue it. And then I just started wrapping the ribbon around. I always add a little bit of glue to the back side. You can choose either that inner ring or the outer ring. For this one I just chose the inner ring, and I just keep wrapping and wrapping until I get all the way back to the beginning. I chose to wrap this because I did not want the bare frame just showing, and it's all about the look you want. So you may try it with just the frame itself. Some people like more of the the structural parts of things to show. I mean, it just gives you a whole different look, so it's up to you. I tend to like things covered and everything looking super neat. So I chose to do it this way. So you can see the 2 feet made it all the way around, and I even had a little teeny piece to spare. I tuck into my raw edge. Never want those raw edges showing, at least I don't. Gave a little bit of glue there on the back and held it down until it adhered. So you're going to see 2 laying on the table now because I was trying to do a little bit of a different design. So what I did was took one of my blue rings, that solid blue, laid it upside down so that U shape is facing up looking at me, And I'm trying to figure out how I want to sit this into that U shape, because I'm hoping that U part will give it a little bit of foundation where it can actually have a bed like to lay in, because the bottom of my little circles here with the rope is round. I thought it would fit well into that curve of the bottom frame. So I had to decide how I'm going to stand these up, and I decided to do it at the point where the just the blue and white rope is, and the natural rope that's wrapped around the three sections would be one of the places that connected, or we're on the sides, not connected, but we're on the sides, so that I could kind of line everything up. So using that rope, you can see how right here is at the same height, and it gives me a nice place to make sure everything kind of looks symmetrical. Now, after doing that, I wanted to see if I could put this top blue ring on there and everything just stand up straight. Right now, it's kind of leaning into each other. And when I tried it, ooh, child, it was just falling and going every which kind of way. So I decided that wasn't going to work. And I think it didn't work because I have that brown, the natural rope where it's wrapped around at the top there, and it made it difficult for it to fit easily into the top navy blue. So I decided I was going to work with this as it is, the three circles coming together. They're kind of leaning against each other and supporting each other. So the next thing I had to do was figure out how to connect them. So I decided to use a zip tie, and holding them up, I threaded the zip tie between the rope and the metal ring on both of these two rings here side by side. And I did it with them both standing up so that I could kind of position the zip tie correctly, and I knew it would be in the right place. I didn't want it to change the angle of those rings. I wanted to make sure those I'll call them the side ropes, those natural ropes going around, make sure those side ropes were lined up there at the bottom, and that the one was always right at the top. Okay, so I pulled the zip tie through both of those, and I'll show you a better view of that in a minute. And I closed it while the other one is still falling around. And I said, okay, I think I'm going to like this. Now that I've got it lined up, you can see here I'm laying it down. There's enough space in between that rope and the ring to slide that zip tie right through and pull it together. And I don't pull it really snug until I get all of them on. I'm leaving it kind of loose so I have room for them to kind of move around a bit, get everything situated. So you can see here I'm getting everything back in place so I can attach that third zip tie on the other side. And you can see how that one ring is, the rope isn't at the top, so I've got to get them all right back in the right place. I'm turning it so I can get my hand in here to add the last zip tie. And again, if you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share this video with others that might want to do nautical design. Okay, see how I'm standing that back up so the rope is at the top, getting everything the way it should be. And then I'm going to add a third zip tie in between the two that are still remaining open. So I got everything in place, and now I'm adding that very third zip tie the same way. Like I said, it's enough of a gap between the rope and the metal frame. If not, you can kind of just push. There's nothing there but glue. You can kind of push until that zip tie goes in. As much as you're trying to get this stuff adhered to that metal ring, it still gaps. So I got all of them in place, and now I'm pulling them a little tighter. In the end, I go back around, and I'm not going to put all that on video, but I actually add a second zip tie, like right in the same area, just to make sure everything stays nice and snug. So what I'm going to do now is put a big glob of glue on that navy blue wreath frame and sit the blue and white circle back into that spot, and it's giving it place for that glue to adhere and hold the blue and white frame in place. I'm sorry this angle is really difficult to see, but that's exactly what I'm doing on each side, just lifting it slightly so I know exactly where to add the glue. And I added a generous amount of glue. It's going to dry clear, so it'll be okay. You can see there, you don't really see it, but right underneath from where I'm pointing side to side where it sits into that blue, you can see there a little bit of the gloss from the glue. That's where I added that glue and set that rope down in there, and now I'm just holding it in place, giving it a chance to adhere. I wanted this base for this lantern, like I said. Thought it just added a little bit of cuteness. It helps to hold these three rings together securely, and I thought it would just help keep everything in place a little better. So again, once I mentioned that I added a second zip tie right in the same place, and I'll do a close-up here so you can see that. And then I use my zip tie gun to pull everything really snug. So everything is in place now. It's glued to the bottom. And now I'm going to add my cord, or my flower pot hanger, so that I can hang my lantern. And in this case, I didn't have to take anything apart to hook it to a wreath frame. I just connected, I pulled the 3 parts to this chain. I will pull one part through each of the loops, each of the circles. And what I'm doing right now is just taking the little catch, the little clamp, and connecting them at the very center. There are 3 of them, and I'm interconnecting all 3. And at some point, I'm going to pick up one of those light bulbs right there, my solar lights, and add that right to the center where I've connected all 3 of those chains. And I will show you a close-up of that. So now I'm just going to hold it up, see how this works, see if everything is level. I'm kind of finagling the chain around to make sure, you know, it's the same length on each side. And now I'm adding a clamp so that I can unhook this and add my little light there that's laying on the side. And I was just getting excited because I am loving this lantern. And it's like I can't even wait to make my second one. I think in the end I'm going to spray some sealer, some kind of clear spray around there to make it more rain repellent, because this rope is thick. I don't want that water to get in that rope and just sit in it and cause it to rot. So I'm going to spray some sealant on here, and this is it. See how those clamps were connected there inside? If you didn't, you can back up a little bit and look at it again. Okay? Excited about my lantern. I thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll be talking with you again real soon.